We're good, we're in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lunenburg Water District Commissioners Meeting. December 18th at 4:08 p.m. We'll start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Screw that up.
We should have been clicking a pen to keep cadence.
Yeah.
We're gonna review and sign some warrants here. Mark, you got paid now.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah,
They do a lot of work though.
Yeah.
it shows.
Well, supposedly that's still
But didn't it go up last year?
every year. It kind of goes up a little bit. It went up by 500 this year. I think it went up by 1,000 last year, but it's from my understanding, we're still at the very low end of what we could be paying. So
Oh.
yeah,
Well.
yeah. He'll be here next
Who's
meeting.
Bruce Walker? Welding this?
He does the pH probes.
Okay.
And, yeah, he rebuilt the chlorine meter and the pH meter at well number 1. We couldn't get accurate pH readings, and we calibrated and stuff. We just couldn't get it to work, so we replaced the probes. There's actually there's a backup probe in there too, so we bought 2 probes.
We'll have Mr. Esposito look at those minutes when he has a chance also, and we'll keep moving right along. We'll discuss the purchase of a used loader. We bought a
Okay, so
loader.
yeah, we found a nice loader in Ashburnham. Even down in price, 40,000. It's a 2009. Nothing fancy, nothing beat up. I think it's good enough for, we don't use them a whole lot, just to load the trucks and stuff. And I think it's a pretty well needed
Yep.
piece of machinery for the place. So
That's great. We expect to see that tomorrow?
tomorrow.
Hopefully.
All right.
And that was purchased out of
All the water mains and equipment
Yep.
account.
equipment and
we
mains
put-
count.
Yep.
Okay. Can't wait to see it.
Mhm.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's gonna come in handy.
Yep. Yeah. Clean that whole up top.
Yep. I'll wait for John. John, I'll accept a motion to approve the meeting minutes of December 4th, 2024.
So moved.
All right,
He did it.
did it.
He did it.
Commissioner, Superintendent Clerk, Treasurer Additions. What do you got, Fran?
Well, we can just talk about our little site visit, so,
Sure, yeah.
we all can chime in on this one. So, today at 1 o'clock, we had a tour of the Townsend Water Treatment Facility, which also is their garage, their new office and garage. And, it's a very nice building, had 4 PFAS, GAC granulated, actually carbon, filter, towers. And it had, which I was never aware of, some new bag filters, they call them.
Yep.
It's a pre-filter to before it gets to the PFAS to keep those the PFAS filters cleaner for longer term, which to me is all a great idea. So it costs you some money, but it saves you money in the long term.
I think the one takeaway, just to add on to that, was the bag filters don't, there's no PFAS in them. It's just basically like an external vacuum filter, you might say. So when that gets full, you can just like throw it in the dumpster. There's no hazardous materials in that, which I thought was
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so it'll
Yeah.
catch like a,
piece of
sure,
sand.
any kind of sediment or something
Right.
that has a substance will
Yeah.
catch it. So instead of the
Instead of
PFAS
the
filters.
media catching, which I
Yeah,
thought was great.
so
Yeah.
their system had four capsules or whatever they towers, whatever they call them. And so they operate on two of them. So when two of them are full and need to be replaced, the resin, the media, then they switch to the next two. And then they bring in the truck and they had the whole setup with it. You discharge the media by piping, which I thought they
Yeah, that
actually
was
went in
nice.
and did it.
Yeah.
So, but it's done through the
Goes
pipe
right
right out
outside.
the outside door.
Yep.
And his estimated cost for the media was estimated $200,000, and he thinks he's gonna get
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't
200.
think the maintenance cost is that expensive, and they Townsend's PFAS levels like very high.
One of
compared
them
to-
was 125 on one of them, I mean, they're blending, but like, on a high.
But I mean,
Yeah.
compared to, that's why this plant's already up and built,
Yeah.
because they failed the old regulation.
70
Yeah.
now.
Yes, I mean the 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're on the fast track, they had to do
Yeah.
something, so. But, it was good for us to see. I didn't think the building was, I thought it was gonna be bigger.
I did
You know,
too.
I didn't see, it seemed pretty tight though. I mean, everything was pretty tight. It wasn't a whole lot of room between stuff, but I'm not sure you need it.
I don't
No,
know, yeah, no, I
it was
thought,
clean enough to move around and fix.
I think the
certain
other
things
thing
you
too
needed
is that being their office, shop, and PFAS facility, we're really just looking at the PFAS
Yeah.
facility.
Right.
We didn't, the other portions of that were nice, but I mean, not something we need.
Yeah.
Did Ty and Bond talk to us about that bag system? I don't remember
Nothing
anything
I've
about
ever heard of, but
Yeah.
I mean, Time Bond designed that, so I would imagine that would probably, they would
Right.
probably just part of the natural, the normal
Right.
treatment plant.
Slash, I mean, I don't know what that costs or is needed or whatever. I just thought it was kinda neat. I'd never heard of it and I'd be interested in.
Yeah, but we wanna go the best and the cheapest. I mean, that seems to be the cheapest, cause I don't, like I say, I don't remember them talking about, using the bags to remove everything before the PFAS, and then throwing the bags in the dumpster.
I think
Well,
the
I don't think
bags
we've
would,
gotten to
yeah,
that
I don't think we've
stage
gotten to
yet
that
of
stage.
that-
Like I said, I
of
think the
that.
bags are nothing more than like putting a bag over your air filter there,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just, a pre-filter type of thing.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, things I did notice that you guys probably did, the two very large sodium hydroxide tanks.
Well, I didn't
That-
notice
There was,
that.
so like Keys Well has one.
I was
not
asking
even
PJ
as
about
big,
it.
Not even
Yeah.
as big as those,
Yeah.
although ours is wider and not as tall.
Well,
so-
PJ said I think you were 2,500 gallon.
That's what
Yeah,
Keys, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what those were, but the two of them, and then the big sodium hypochlorite
Yeah.
tank. To me, just so everybody knows, I'm not a chlorine out in the system kind of guy, because people don't like it. So to me, I would push just, because you have to chlorinate when you go through the media and stuff.
Correct.
To me, I would like to add just a minimal amount, just to make sure that the water's disinfected when it leaves.
Mhm.
And if all possible, I would prefer to do a UV light, so you
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
you wouldn't even detect anything.
Yeah.
No.
So I prefer, I'm not sure if that'll fly, but just so you know, I'm gonna try for that anyway. So even if I'm gonna do for the UV light anyway, and then if you have to do any chlorine, cause UV light will kill
Any bacteria.
anything.
Yeah.
Any organic matter, it's
Mhm.
destroyed, so when you add the chlorine, it's less that you need to inject anyway, cause it has nothing to fight.
Mhm.
So no matter what, it's a good method of treatment, so. But other than that, I was impressed.
It was I was glad we went there and took a look at it. It was nice to see how somebody else did it. They did a lot of things. There's a lot of infrastructure there that we wouldn't need. I mean, they built a new garage and even the area out back and all that other stuff is like,
Yeah.
but
With the actual treatment.
the actual treatment plant itself, I mean, it's, it's, I don't wanna say it's pretty simple, but it's, 4 tanks and piping
Yeah.
and.
I meant to ask him about the size of the building, but I forgot. We should find out about that.
We could,
Just
Yeah.
not the,
Yeah, the actual-
even the size of the garage and the building
I
itself.
know it was 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
that
we
was,
asked
yeah,
that.
Yep.
But, and then the nice thing was the principal forgiveness. What did he say was,
Yeah.
33%?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
They already got 8 and they're gonna get more or something
Yeah.
to that effect, yeah,
Yeah, so principal forgiveness is a huge thing, that, we could
yeah.
throw that away.
Well, we had some of that too, but that's gone down the road.
Yeah. So anyway, but it was a good thing.
But
Interest-free
we're not a
money.
public comment.
Is this your first meeting?
Hey, I didn't go, I wasn't a banker.
Thank God, yes.
So yeah, I thought it was,
That's
Yeah,
nice
and
to
this,
see.
we were invited to the air plant
Yep.
as
I think
well.
that would be interesting to go to and talk to
In
them.
air, they, you know, they said there's things that we need to do that they did that they don't recommend.
yeah,
So, yeah, so I think because air was so, one of the first ones that, you know, a lot of things that they learned, I mean, by the time we build our plans, maybe we're gonna say, there's a better way than Townsend, we don't know that.
exactly. But no, it is nice to kind of see some of these, you're right, there may be some features that are on these that really, they're costs that we don't need, but
Yeah, right.
like in talking to him, and I would like to talk to Ayer, Littleton, all these places that are hopefully somewhat apples to apples of, maintenance costs is another one, you know, we found out some information, but this facility is really only 4 weeks old, or at least,
Yeah, it's
you know,
brand
it's
new.
very new. So the actual numbers, we can't grab quite yet, but, you know.
Did you notice the wall behind the 4 tanks?
Yes.
Is that, serve a certain purpose
Are
or
you
just
talking about the
light?
whole, I think it was the chemical tanks,
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, like in case.
The light wall, I mean, it wasn't a clear wall, but it wasn't a cement block wall.
I know what you're talking
Oh,
about, on the
that's it.
backside facing
Yeah,
like
I think it's to
septic.
get the tanks in and out if they had to. There's a big,
No. Tanks are way higher than that.
no, that wall, I know what you're talking, it was like a,
I
Think
didn't
so?
notice.
Yeah,
it looked like a garage door, but it
Yes.
doesn't open and close.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was almost like to let light in or something, like it
Well,
had,
maybe it was to easily come down so they could do.
I think it's so
cameras.
they could get if they had to service something in there, it was a.
maybe some way
it
to
was
get
a
in.
huge-
Maybe, I'm sure.
You know,
Yeah, see, when you put in a tank, chemical tank, you have to contain it.
he's not talking about that. I know what you're talking about. There was a.
The
like a
actual
spillway.
wall structure.
On the back wall, if you looked on the outside, like at the big building,
Yeah.
there was this, it looked like a large garage door, but it wasn't a garage
Okay.
door. You know, so like, maybe that could be taken down versus busting out the blocks.
Yeah.
If you had to,
Yeah,
and it was
right.
big enough to get one of those tanks,
Yeah.
you know, is my assumption.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Just a
that was,
thought.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a pretty good,
And
So
they're-
on the other side, so if anybody wants to know, they used to only have 2 service guys out, they had a superintendent, 2 service guys, and now they have 5.
They have 5.
Inside, 5 people.
And they have roughly 1,500
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, I think it's 15, 16,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
they're-
we're at 2,400, so they're slightly smaller than us, but I guess the other thing with their facility is their wells are stone's throw away, they're close.
3 of them,
Yeah.
but some of
Yeah,
them
right.
aren't, but the other ones have no PFAS, so.
what's their rate on their water, you know?
We've compared it, it's
yeah.
similar.
I mean, is it about the same, or
Yeah,
are they way
it's-
higher or lower? Or?
What, they charge their residents
Yeah.
their
Yeah,
rates?
Yeah,
It's similar.
I think it is similar, but I don't know. I
We
could look
did-
back, I got old notes when
Yeah.
we were trying to look
When
at
we were
rates and
looking,
stuff.
we
but-
adjusted our water rates, I remember looking at theirs,
Yeah.
we looked at all the surrounding towns, and they're all,
Yeah, see, and it's tough, like, cause I talked to Fitchburg, Leominster, a lot of the towns, and they're on the, ready to raise their rates, you know, cause we had a lot of comments that, hey, we're higher than all these
Yeah.
people, so when I called all of them,
They were-
well, we're right on the verge of raising our rates
Yeah.
to actually higher than Lunenburg, so.
Yep.
So I think we're right in line, Townsend has always been cheaper than Lunenburg.
I'm thinking about the amount of money that they've spent down there.
And, yeah, they're spending a ton more, so
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure how they're gonna.
where's
do
it coming from, you know, I mean, I know they're getting it from the grants, but still, it's,
yeah, they got some money
But-
tied up there.
But they had no guarantees, so they must, you know what I mean, it's not like they built this and said, oh, let's hope for it. Because
Right.
they
They-
knew they had
they
some
knew,
grant
yeah.
money, but they didn't know they had all of it, so they're still probably making some kind of payment, so I'm sure they had to.
I'm sure they are.
And plus, like you said, they were part of that early wave of must.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, the fast tracks.
Yep,
You got anything to add?
to the treatment plant, or
just-
So,
just in general, yeah. I
Time
didn't know if
bonds
you-
coming tomorrow
Yeah.
at 11 o'clock. They asked for a meeting. I'm not sure what it entails. Maybe it's for the grant money for how we're trying to do that plan, for implementation plan. I'm not sure what they're up to, so maybe it's to talk about Townsend or.
They didn't wanna give you heads up or anything?
They just
so
said, hey, can we meet at 11? They were gonna meet in Townsend. They said, hey, can we stop by and meet you at 11? I'm like, yeah, it's fine, so.
I think it was just to check in, like they knew we were going, they were going to tomorrow.
Oh,
Hey,
okay,
we're gonna
yeah,
be in the
sure.
area, we'll
Yeah.
swing in and see what's going on. I don't think it was.
Yeah,
They're gonna charge us, don't
Don't get them going.
I better get you there.
they? Free lunch.
That's all I got.
I don't know, I'm,
We talked last time about, getting a price for surveying around
Mm-hmm.
the 400-foot radius around Hickory Hills.
Yep.
So I reached out to Haley Ward, which was Whitman and Bingham. We've
Yep.
used them for a lot of our site work. So I got a price from him to stake the 400-foot zone 1 well radius. Basically it was, I don't know if he put an exact thing in here, but it was, he came in and he talked to us, showed us a map, and it was basically setting a couple of pins, couple of flags, visual flags and everything like that, more so just
Sure.
hands-on site stuff. So his quote was $1850 for them to come out and do that engineering.
okay, the first thing I'm gonna say is, that's all right, but I want permanent pins in there. I don't want stakes in the ground and somebody is gonna come down and pull out and throw away. I want some rebar driven in the ground.
Yep, so
like
that's
this
what
far.
we talked about, so
Okay.
there's 3 different ones.
Only wanna do it once.
There's a stake, regular stake, you put it in, put your flag on, people can easily grip it, but we'll at least have the visual part there. Then there were what were they, 3 feet?
The steel pins.
3-foot steel pins, which he can actually get, down in the ground,
Yeah, so you
mark
can see
it.
'em.
So we'll see it,
Mhm.
but then if it gets covered, you could still mow over it, you could still do it,
I
but we
know
could
exactly.
easily find
Yeah,
it.
it's like, it looks like a big man.
Yeah,
You know the one.
yeah,
it's like
or
a-
there was the third one of the actual
No.
granite, yeah, so we
Yeah,
didn't
we-
go that, we went, this price included like, I don't know, half a dozen pins, and then, 3-foot stakes in the ground,
Yeah,
and then,
we can find one on metal thing if we want.
yes, and then stakes around it with the flag, so
So
that
that's
people.
for 12, or 6 pins?
I-
Six.
He
Yeah, we were
drew a
talking
map,
5 or
yeah,
6.
5 or 6
He had a map,
pins.
and he
It's
was like
basically,
strategic.
yeah, I mean, it basically
No, I
was
mean,
the
I-
wells here, he was going from water's edge to water's
Okay,
edge.
yeah, I wasn't thinking of water, but okay.
Yeah, so he was doing like,
Yeah, I get you.
you know what I
Something
mean,
we
the
could
road comes
easily-
in,
Yeah,
couple here,
Copy.
couple here, and then doing a couple flags next to them,
Yeah.
and then a couple flags in between, because
yeah,
if somebody wanted to pull it out of the ground, they could, but at least this way we had those.
okay.
And then we got a GPS unit, we can
Yeah.
actually beam up the exact line.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be,
It does it.
yeah.
So we'll
So
have
we
the,
won't even need the metal detector, we can say it's right exactly
Yeah.
here.
Should do that right after they're in the ground, maybe.
yes,
Yeah.
when they're there.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
Yeah, I even asked them if somehow we could upload their data from there,
yeah.
but it would not.
We just go back with our GIS type of thing. Okay.
So I don't know if this is just something you guys wanna think about.
Wanna do it? I say we do it, I mean, it's a professional service,
Yeah,
I'm all in favor. Do we need to vote on
I would,
I make a motion, we have, Haley and Ward,
Haley Moore, yep,
survey the 400 feet around our well at Hickory Hills. And,
price
for,
of,
for 1,850.
how much?
1,850.
1850, 1,850.
it? All those in favor?
Aye,
All right,
Okay, so I'll keep you guys posted on that.
okay.
That's all I got. Oh, no, I'm sorry, one last thing. Remember how we talked about, with the billing, Invoice Cloud? I
Yes,
was changing those structures.
Yep.
So I just got it, I really was pushing them to have everything, the billing goes out January 1st.
Mhm.
I wanted everything to go into effect when the new bills came out, well, they just got me an email and said that they're getting held up working with the credit card companies, whatever. So it doesn't look like it's gonna go through till the end of January. So my initial thought was this kinda stinks, cause I hate changing it mid-cycle for people, but he assures me that it will be done before the end of January, which I would say majority of anybody who's goes in on Invoice Cloud will be February 1st. They do the automatic payments.
yeah, right there.
So, for me, I think we should still roll with it. I don't think it's worth waiting another till the next
don't-
quarter,
I
till
don't either.
April.
As long as it doesn't mess up from your end.
It shouldn't miss anything up on my end, and I'm gonna make sure, and I told him, I said, as soon as you know the date that this can happen, I've already been working on the Facebook page, I wanna work on the website, I wanna get the word out to people that, hey, I mean, it might be worth with the bills, hey, you know, come the end of January, just to give you a heads up, the structure's changing, I don't know, I'm trying to do my best to let people know.
Yeah.
Regardless, I'm sure people will have something to say, but that got delayed a little bit, but it will go through.
Sure. I think we should press on with that.
I think so too, because by April, we'll have that quarter, but then by July, October, those are the high ones. And this is gonna give those people those options to pay their bills above the $300 limit, so. Yeah. That's it.
Any public comment this evening?
Yes, Dave Rogers, 82 Highland Street.
Mr. Rogers, how can we help you?
Didn't want to disappoint you. Explain to me the rationale for spending $40,000 for a loader.
I can do that if you'd like. All right, so we currently have a backhoe here, and then we have the old JCB backhoe, which is, let's just say, a half a backhoe. All right. When, generally speaking, if we were to do a water main break, we would be deploying the backhoe out to the site to dig, load into the truck, and haul the dirt away. When we need to haul the dirt, so then sometimes we need to haul sand, dirt, other back. We need to either bring that backhoe back here or get the JCB over here to load the dump trucks. And the backhoe's a very limited reach as to what you can get into the truck, all right? Where a loader, which has about 3 to 4 times the size bucket that has, and has the higher capacity to dump, makes it much faster. To load it with the backhoe right now, you may even have to like go on the other side of the truck to dump it into, because it's like barely getting over.
Yeah.
So, I was very much in favor of getting a machine like that.
Yeah.
Also, in the fact that, like, so we just did this whole Mass Ave water main replacement. There was a lot of material that got moved around, and the backhoe, the savings of just having that machine time wise is.
That was a contract bid.
I'm sorry, no, but it's even for that, but there's still fill here. There's still material to move.
They'll remove. Yeah.
There.
Yeah, so on the little backhoes, there was at least 14 buckets to fill the truck. So I mean, when you needed to fill the truck, you were there for a long time. And like what he said, you can't. You usually got the dump truck. You want to dump it and drop the dirt in. You couldn't. You would drop it on the side, and you're trying to push it over, and it was very difficult. And the JCB, it's old, you know, and the bucket didn't hold. So you lift it up to try and dump it, and the piston, the hydraulics leaked, so we just dropped back on the truck. So now you're trying to lift it up, now it's stalling. So,
Yeah.
so it's the point of where we needed to remove the JCB from the equation, and we felt that, you know, without spending a whole lot of money, this was the cheapest way to do it.
So basically, it boiled down to the JCB is getting cycled out. You know,
It needs to
that's-
go.
It needs to go. So it was either do we buy another backhoe to replace it, or do we get a loader? And we felt that the loader would be the better replacement for that.
We doing the right thing, John?
I was just gonna ask you if you wanted to hear my opinion. Yes, we are, because I'm all in favor of starting to do our own water lines. Main lines, the ones we can do, not like the one on Mass Ave where you gotta bore
Yeah.
and all that stuff, but that way there, we can get rid of these engineers, we can get rid of the prevailing wage, and we can save a ton of money, a ton. Just what we pay for engineering is, what was the engineering down there on 2A?
I think it was 200,000.
200 grand, just for engineering for that simple water line. And I mean, you know, anybody knows that you turn the water on and it goes through the pipe. How much engineering do you need?
About $200,000.
About $200,000 worth. So, you know, I mean, it's just getting out of control. And then when you start paying these guys prevailing wage, that's 40% of the cost of the bid. 40%. So you're gonna save a ton of money.
All right, good. Talking about the engineers, I'm sitting here listening to you talk, and I haven't been to every meeting, but I never heard any alternative for PFAS, in the neighborhood of $200,000.
Well, for exchanging the media? Well, just in this case, like Townsend, they know the size of their media chambers, so they know how much they're going to need. Like in case of Lunenburg, we don't know what size chambers we're going to have, so we don't know those numbers until the plant's actually designed. So once the plant's designed, we're gonna say, okay, you need, this much media, the activated carbon filter media, and then we can say, okay, well, how much is that going to cost? And then we can, put numbers together with it. Townsend's case, they know that. They know the size of their chambers.
Do you
It's
think,
just an arithmetic computation, right?
Nick, yeah, probably.
Well, and he said, he kind of implied that it was they were at a certain percentage already, what did he say, we're at 19%. So generally, they thought a year to a year and a half, and he says, and our hope is to get 2 years. So that's what it wasn't a solid, yes, it's gonna
Yeah.
cost us $200,000 every 2 years. It was, the way things are going right now, it's still very new, but the way things are progressing, we should get 2 years out of these filters. And those 2 filters will cost us $200,000. So that's where he came up with that number. They haven't changed it yet, but that's what he was implying,
Like,
right?
that is
All
not,
learning.
that's not a concrete number, that's a
guess,
guess of what it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it is what it is,
Well, I'm sure, but my point is, not once have I heard anybody from the engineering side of the house say, this is an alternative, and they're doing it in Townsend, and, because everybody was giving us a pushback, on the cost of all of this stuff, so I was just, concerned that we hadn't heard anything like this.
Well, see, now that we've gone to Townsend and we've got this little bit of information that we've picked up,
Yeah,
we can bring this up to the engineers, just like when we go to air.
they're the ones that designed it.
Well, I think also at the time too, as if you, let's say, roll back a year, for example, when we were, going through a lot of this, even at that time, people didn't know, even at that point, the exact cost of getting rid of X amount of tons or yards of PFAS, and, so it is still a very evolving.
But that's not a factor with this proposal with the 4 units. It doesn't,
Well, it is.
Not the PFAS, it's the material that comes out before the PFAS that you're talking about, right? The bags that you take out.
I guess I was asleep then. I thought I heard you guys say that this, when you get rid of the stuff, so-called, it's not a hazardous waste, it's not a big thing you can
Okay.
just,
Oh,
throw
that's
away.
the
Okay,
bag.
sorry.
That's the bag.
Well, I think we're talking about 2 separate things, Dave, just so
Okay.
you know. Imagine the silo that contains the PFAS remediation material.
Yep.
Okay, this bag is a smaller,
It's actually
vacuum filter.
It's like the size of that little.
Yeah, it's smaller.
It's just a small.
Looks like it may be a
standstill.
55-gallon drum. And there's literally, I guess, a bag in there with a filter. And what that filter is doing is grabbing any sand, any micro type of, just physical stuff, okay?
Yep.
Not chemical, physical. So by pulling it out there, that little piece of sand doesn't get filtered out in over here in our PFAS remediation, clogging it up faster. So anything, it's literally just filtering out particles, sand.
It doesn't filter
Nothing
PFAS at
chemical.
all, so the PFAS passes right through it.
Takes out everything except the PFAS.
Right. So basically, when the water enters into the PFAS chamber, it's pure water with bad chemicals in it that the PFAS things can do. In other words, if we didn't have this and like some sand, some junk got by, now it clogs it up here, which is almost like unnecessary. If we could have grabbed it here and
Yeah.
make that last longer. So maybe that's the,
Well, it was probably my mistake, because and thank you for the explanation. Now, simple math tells me that that's $100,000 a year,
sure.
right? And again, when we were talking about all of this stuff, that was a position that nobody knew.
Correct.
There's no way in hell we could say that this is that. So I guess maybe I'm just too sensitive about this, because, very frankly, I was bullshit at the response that the populace gave this commission. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that all of this stuff it's defensible. It's an alternative.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then that's fine. Now, educate me again. Would we have to theoretically put this kind of a program in place with the Keating well, so-called, the Hickory Hills well, so-called, and any other well that we need to, work on?
Are you talking about the bag filter?
Yes.
Or,
I think it would just be part of the treatment plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, but so on all, in Townsend, they didn't need any pre-treatment prior to the PFAS. So the bag filters in their case was probably a good idea. In our case, certain wells need iron and manganese removal. So
Yeah.
those are going through its own separate filter. So maybe that would take the place of
I
that.
totally agree with you,
Okay,
yeah.
the Keating well is the unknown one. That
Yeah.
one with the hard water, maybe that would have the bag filter.
Sure.
The hard water seems to be the toughest thing, the biggest hurdle right now, because it's got a lot of side issues, like the brine, the leftover, the backwash, the 8,000 gallons, whatever. We don't know any of this stuff, but the engineer's like, it's got some serious concerns, but the pilot test's still going, so we don't really know the exact information yet. But it could be.
I don't want to advertise this bag filter as that's all you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
It's just something else they had additional to that. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. That's going to pull out
Yeah.
any little thing. You still need PFAS treatment. You still need all that stuff. It just may help give you a little more time with your media in
The
there.
expensive
And you're
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
If you had iron and manganese and hard water, the filtering units to take that out might be already grabbing that, and we never put one of these bag things in.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, we might not even
We
need
might not
those
even need.
bags.
I just happen to see and be like, that's a pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like a good
okay.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, obviously, my uninformed background is if we can save some money, that's fine. But that's not the key insofar as I'm concerned. The key is to solve the problem. Okay? And if we can solve the problem with an alternative kind of a program, that's something that we should listen to. Okay? And the thing that concerns me is that our engineers, the same engineers that worked in Townsend, right, didn't bring this to our attention. And maybe it's because you can't do it,
I also don't want to say that they didn't bring it to our attention because we have yet to see the scope of what that treatment plant is fully going to be because the Hickory Hills well one didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there was a pilot, but we didn't sit there and go through these intense drawings. Maybe it wasn't there or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I completely understand what you're saying. I just maybe gonna throw a little caution that maybe they did throw it in there and
Yeah.
we just never saw it
Well,
because
yeah, we never got to that.
we never
point.
got to that point anyway. So
Right.
But it's also not really an alternative.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
just one more step. It's a very, very
Yeah.
And maybe it's
small,
in every-
minor
right.
step.
Maybe it's in
And I-
every
in
one
the
of
overall
them.
picture.
I think it's
Yeah.
a dangerous word to use as alternative. It's
Yeah.
not an alternative.
No.
It's just an addition to.
It's a very
Yes.
small, it could make a
Right.
big impact by removing those small particles from the final stage of going through PFAS, but this isn't,
Things are moving too fast.
if you do this is gonna save you millions of dollars. It was just hey, if we add this, it's gonna help extend the life of these filters. So I don't think it was ever them not coming to us and saying that it was an alternate source, like you said it,
Okay.
yeah.
So the jury's still out on this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just something I saw that was that's a
Yeah.
pretty good idea.
Yeah, good. Well, that's fine. I feel better.
Okay.
The other thing that I'd like to talk about real quickly is and you voted to do this with the
Survey?
survey, thanks, survey, sir. Okay, and that's fine. I personally, feel strongly about this thing, and I personally would like to see the district move forward after they do this and claim the area that we are right to, and get the thing done properly, okay? And now that's gonna be more money, but the easement clearly says that we can do it. So this is, so far as I'm concerned, this is the first stage in getting this thing to fruition, because it's for all the reasons that we know, and I won't go into them. This is something that should be done. Now, you're going to be surprised about this, but in terms of making some personal plans for further retirement, et cetera, and from a real estate standpoint, we are, my wife and I, are interested maybe in buying something down at the Woodlands, okay? And we're doing our due diligence in that regard. I just, not that I have to give notice to anybody, but the couple of things that we have aren't even on the market, but, I would have, a vested interest in knowing what's going on. So I'll keep you posted about that.
Thanks, Dave. Anything else, sir?
No.
Any other public comment?
No, you did it, dude.
No.
Fine.
Got it all out.
Yeah, you got it all out.
All right.
Real quick.
No,
Bob
they
Run,
passed.
30.
Yeah, we went
I
back.
said no.
The radios, how are we doing on the radios? You met engine, and I know.
I've tried with the guy, modular communication, it's stuck with the town, something with the town, the fire chief said that the ARPA money, they got refocused on all kinds of other things, so. And that's not typically how, usually give me the price, we go or no go, or whatever it is, so I can, you guys tell me, I can get a price from other people, and if you guys say that, I have no problem saying, hey, call around and get a price from other people, maybe they're more responsive. We don't need the fire and police to do this.
Right.
It's our tanks, it's our antennas, it's just, all we do is put 3 of it.
Yeah.
We don't need.
I know we don't need it, but it would be nice to have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but but let's say we do it.
Right.
Let's say we go with a different company and we put in the radios.
Yeah.
Then they come in, then it doesn't change a thing.
Right.
It's they just add their stuff, or maybe they put in a new cabinet, whatever.
Right.
It's not.
I know.
It's a doable thing.
So why should we do it?
Well, it's just in cooperation. If we do it with the fire and police, we can do it as a joint venture.
Okay.
So we're not paying our guy to go put this equipment in, and then they pay their guy to put their equipment in. And if we do it together, we got one guy putting in all our equipment, probably saving us, a little bit of money to, do it in one process rather than.
Because I've sat in on a bunch of those meetings, and there's not a lot of money kicking around for doing extra things from the town.
I think in this case, the money was already appropriated.
It was already
years ago.
appropriated, Dave.
It was
Okay.
in
So
town
why
meeting.
haven't they done it?
I guess it was something to do, so the actual radio equipment is on the state bid, so
Yeah.
we don't need to go out to bid to
Good,
purchase,
yeah.
so we can go,
So we know roughly what it is.
so we don't just go buy the radio equipment. But when the service to install the equipment, has a fee, and depending on
Mhm.
what that fee is, now you're talking bidding, you need to go out to bid
Yeah.
to get that.
Yeah,
And the guy who's supplying the radios,
yeah.
doesn't, I don't know how it works, he's supplying the radios, but you're gonna have some other guy bid to put in his radio, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a
You
Sure.
don't wanna do that, no.
tricky thing, so.
Okay, that's good.
So that's kind of where it's like, kind of getting held up, and that's what I thought, if the water district jumped into that, maybe we could drop that number down so that you don't need to bid,
Yep,
that's a,
Okay.
that was kind of.
Good.
But yeah, nothing, I can.
I don't blame you, I'm thinking that they're held up on that end too, okay?
Yeah, and the original plan was that by us jumping in, we would actually help them. but-
It seems that this is a reoccurring thing. I mean, I remember, jumping through hoops, this district, so that the police and the fire could have what they needed, and, I mean, we worked in a very cooperative fashion, so.
Yeah, we fixed a lot of their radio issues.
Yeah,
no
We
shit.
have a lot of them, yeah.
We had a
Okay.
repeater problem, Dave.
Yeah.
So I,
Remember, repeater problems?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we paid for a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's just
Seems like you can't get anything done anymore.
oh, John,
Everything takes forever.
absolutely. Yep.
They have meetings forever.
Go to a meeting and you talk 2 hours, and at the end of the 2 hours, you don't know what the hell you said, and nothing's been done.
Well, it seems like
You
they,
guys didn't pick up on that at all.
Your delivery needs to be,
I thought I laid it out pretty thick, but.
yeah.
it seems like they don't have the guts to make a decision. Postpone it, postpone it,
Yeah.
postpone it, months and months and
Yeah.
months. Make a decision and go on with the
But
project.
there's legal procurement laws. you
Well,
know,
I
and
know
Oh, yeah.
When you violate a procurement law, you are personally liable, so
Yeah.
it's like an ethics thing, if you make a mistake, it's bigger
Oh, yeah.
than you.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Did anything go once,
That's it.
twice?
Sold the man with his wife.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
You certainly do.
All right.
Make a motion, we adjourn.